say you'd be surprised at the number of people who.
Well, they have.
Black. Good evening and welcome to the March 7th meeting of the Chelmsford Board of Selectmen. Recognize that it's 7 o'clock, so I'll call this meeting to order. Will you all please stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being recorded and televised by Chelmsford Telemedia. Is there anyone else here this evening who's recording the meeting? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to public service announcements. First on the agenda, we have Mr. George Simonian here to receive a proclamation on behalf of the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association Hall of Fame inductees.
Yeah, I think
Thank you, folks.
Oh, yeah, but we won't.
Good evening.
How's everybody?
Very good.
It's a week from Saturday, March the 19th. Let me I just really want to read this, okay? Remind the folks. The Chelmsford High School Alumni Association Hall of Fame Selection Committee has selected the 26th class of inductees to the Hall of Fame. The inductees are Bruce Byam, class of 63, Megan Curran, class of 05, Jeff Doherty, Dean, Ellen Hansen, class of 87, Ray Hardy, class of 51, Harriet Connett, coach, Jim Lane, class of 83, Kevin McCarthy, class of 87, and Anne Marie Rourke, class of 72. The induction ceremony and dinner will be held at the Radisson up in Nashua this a week from Saturday, the 19th, and tickets are still available. I think we're down to 14.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, after
We've got 300 and some odd sold already.
Most.
Yeah. It's going to be a sellout, no question.
Very good. Fantastic. Do you
Good.
want to,
Any questions?
no questions.
We get 9 of them there. They're all there.
We'll give you all the signed proclamations.
Yeah,
And
should we read one?
yeah, would you like to read one? That would
Okay,
be
I'll
great.
read one.
Read one.
Town of Chelmsford Proclamation in recognition of Chelmsford Hall of Fame induction, March 19th, 2016. Whereas the Chelmsford High School Alumni Association founded the CHS Hall of Fame in 1991 to honor past graduates in all walks of life, and whereas the Hall of Fame was established to honor CHS alumni or former staff for outstanding community service, outstanding achievement in a professional career, or excelling in their high school careers. And whereas on March 19th, 2016, the CHS Alumni Association will induct the following CHS alumni into the Hall of Fame. Bruce E. Byam, class of 1963. Megan S. Curran, class of 2005. Jeffrey D. Doherty, retired dean. Ellen M. Hansen, class of 1987. F. Raymond Hardy, class of 1951. Harriet C. Connett, coach. James M. Lane, Jr., class of 1983. Kevin F. McCarthy, class of 1987, and Anne Marie Rourke, class of 1972. Sealed by the town clerk, Honorina Maloney, and signed by Matthew Hanson, Robert P. Joyce, Laura, Merrill, George Dixon, and Janet Askenberg.
Great. Thank you, George.
And we have one for each of them in there, I believe.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Thank you. George? Any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, how much are the tickets?
He wants 5.
5-0.
Are you going, Charles?
And there'll be only 9 left.
Is anybody else going on?
Does Trish still have a few in there, I think?
Do we have some?
George has them all.
You have the remaining ones?
I had them here for a while, but
Yeah, George.
I had to call them back in because they're going so fast.
Okay, well, I'm definitely gonna go,
Okay?
so could you put a
I'll
name?
bring a ticket out and leave it with Trish.
Yeah, and I'll get you a check.
Yeah, you can leave it with Trish.
Yeah, okay,
All right?
very good,
Well, thank you very much.
thank you.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
you.
Any other
Have a good
questions?
evening, folks.
Thank
Thank you very much. Good.
Next on the public service announcements, we have Jim Dolan here to receive a proclamation on behalf of the Town of Chelmsford Scholarship Month.
Thank you.
As you mentioned, I'm Jim Dolan, the president of the Chelmsford Scholarship Fund.
Okay. Town of Chelmsford proclamation in recognition of Town of Chelmsford Scholarship Month, March 2016. Whereas the Town of Chelmsford Scholarship Fund was founded on April 8, 1957, and has been awarding scholarships continually since that date, totaling over $1 million. The fund obtains its income from voluntary contributions from individuals, organizations, and businesses, and does not obtain any funding from tax revenues. And whereas the fund exists to provide financial assistance in the form of scholarship to Chelmsford residents who have completed secondary school and wish to continue their undergraduate education. The fund awards scholarships based on need, scholastic achievement, college acceptance, and qualities of character. And whereas citizens may assist the annual fund appeal in March by mailing contributions to Treasurer, P.O. Box 296, Chelmsford, Mass. 01824, with checks made payable to the Town of Chelmsford Scholarship Fund Incorporated. Memorial contributions in honor of special occasions or individuals may also be made. And whereas the fund has awarded over $1,463,20 to students, including awards given out last year, 2015, totaling over $55,000. This year will mark the fund's 59th anniversary. Therefore, this honorable body proclaims the month of March 2016 as Town of Chelmsford Scholarship Month and calls upon its citizens to support and encourage the officers and directors of this organization in their annual fund drive. Signed the 7th day of March 2016, Honorina Maloney, Town Clerk, Matthew Hanson, Robert P. Joyce, Laura Merrill, George Dixon, and Janet Askenberg, Selectmen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Again, I'd just like to thank
Sure.
the selectmen and also our donors, because the donors over the history of the Town of Chelmsford Scholarship Fund. The Scholarship Fund's been able to give out over 1.4 million scholarships over its history, so thank you. And finally, just a PR announcement for November is the major fundraising we have with the Dancing with the Stars. And thank you again for the proclamation.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Great evening. We have a few other announcements under public service announcements. The annual volunteer fair is going to be held at the Senior Center on March 12th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. There'll be numerous volunteer groups and community organizations there looking for additional volunteers, and a lot of wonderful people to meet at that event. We also would like to announce a Generation RX seminar to be held at the Chelmsford Public Library on March 9th at 7 p.m. That will be presented by Lisa McDonald from Cardinal Health. Every day, approximately 2,500 young people between 12 and 17 years of age abuse a prescription painkiller for the first time. So if you would like to learn more about risk awareness regarding that, again, Wednesday, March 9th at the Chelmsford Public Library. And there's also one additional event, Saturday, April 2nd, 2016, from 9 a.m. to noon at the Chelmsford Senior Center. It's the Chelmsford Health and Wellness Fair for the entire family. That's a great event. You can learn about physical fitness. You can have your blood pressure taken. If you have any questions, there'll be lots of experts and specialists there who can direct you in the right direction. Again, that's Saturday, April 12th. George is going. We're all going.
April
It's gonna be a
2nd.
good event. April 2nd, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
From
And if
9
you could just
a.m.
highlight real quick, they're going to have free blood sugar, blood pressure, and a limited number of cholesterol screenings offered at this event.
That's fantastic.
So highly encourage people to go on down and visit.
Very good. And that brings us right into open session. Is there anyone here this evening who wishes to address the board?
Glenn Diggs, Precinct 2.
Evening, Glenn.
I'm just hoping it hasn't been lost. Twice previously, the board has requested the attendance of Richard Day to discuss the Health Board's decision to displace the families that are living in a local hotel. Whatever reason, he did not make either of those meetings, and I would hope that you would request his presence again. Time is running short on these families. The children will be displaced from Chelmsford schools in many cases. The families will be removed, unknown where they may go, and at the same time, the town may face legal action with the state who may challenge the whole thing. So I would hope that you would invite him again.
There was a conflict this evening, but we can look to put them on the 21st.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are still in open session if there's anyone else who wishes to address the board. Seeing none at this time, we will move on to committee vacancies. Selectman Joyce, if you would.
Yes, committee vacancies as of 3/7/2016. Board of Appeals, there's an alternate, one seat open. Center Village Master Plan Implementation Committee, there's one term open. Civic Committee, there's one unexpired 3-year term. Energy Conservation Committee, there's one unexpired 3-year term. Great Brook Farm Advisory Committee, there's one 1-year term. Land Management Subcommittee, there's one 2-year term. Public Celebrations Committee, there's two 1-year terms. Recycling Committee, there's two 1-year terms. Tree Committee, there's one 3-year term. And Vinyl Square Strategic Action Plan Committee, there's an unexpired 1-year term. And to apply, you can go online at www.townofchelmsford.us and go to the manager's page, and there is I think that's where the form is.
Committee
right?
application
Yeah.
form,
And if you want to get in touch with the office, it's tmoffice@townofchelmsford.us. That's it.
Thank you very much. We will move on to public hearings this evening. We have a public hearing to consider the suspension or revocation of the all-alcohol restaurant common vic license and entertainment license of Talwar and Latka LLC doing business as India Palace for the non-payment of taxes. Good evening.
Good evening, Tom McEnany from Copeland and Page.
Evening, Tom. And John.
I'm
I see
John
you here with us
Sousa.
this evening.
John
Record.
Souza, Finance Director, Treasurer.
Thank you.
So we're here this evening on a notification that was sent out on February 17th by first-class mail and certified mail pursuant to Section 81-2 of the town's general bylaws, which allows the Board of Selectmen as the local licensing authority to deny, revoke, or suspend a license based on the failure to pay taxes, betterments, or other fees. The entity in question, Talwar and Latka LLC, doing business as India Palace, has failed to pay its personal property taxes for fiscal year 2015, and at present, as of today, has a balance due of $961.49. According to Mr. Souza, he's had no contact from them since this letter was sent out. We previously had notified them of a hearing earlier that was postponed due to inclement weather. Sent this second notice rescheduling the hearing for today's date, and we have had no response from them. This is the second time that we have had to go this route. Back with respect to the fiscal year 2013 taxes, they failed to pay, and a hearing was held before the Board of Selectmen, at which time they did actually show up and make payment on the date of the hearing. So at this point, in light of the fact that their taxes remain outstanding, we would request that the license be suspended until such time as the taxes have been paid.
Right, correct, thank you.
Is the party here, the
What is the
licensee?
procedure for
Yes,
that?
I mean, it is a public hearing, so I will ask if anyone is here to speak on behalf of the applicant or in general, anyone who wishes to speak on behalf of the public hearing. Seeing none, we can close the public.
I'd like to know what the procedure is, that's all.
Do we send a letter and have it hand-delivered by a police officer in the morning to the establishment? Or what would I think that's what the board's wondering, is how would the board go about it, executing the suspension?
Right, that would be my recommendation. So if the board votes to suspend the license this evening, then tomorrow we would want to draft up a letter notifying them that the board took such action at the meeting this evening, and then have that delivered by police officer probably would be the best way to go. And then obviously they're not going to be able to serve alcohol or any food or alcoholic beverages under their all alcohol common victual license, nor would they be able to have any entertainment until such time as the license, the taxes are paid and the suspension was lifted.
So do they have to
So in
lock?
essence, they're shut down.
Yeah, so does the policeman have to stay until they lock up and then,
I mean, maybe my recommendation would be if we have this letter hand-delivered tomorrow, could it go into effect, like, in 24 hours or 48 hours? So if they bring the payment back the same day, they don't have to shut down? Would that be
That's
acceptable?
fine. Certainly, that's within the discretion of the board to do that.
So maybe they have until Wednesday at, say, 4 p.m., or whenever town offices were closed, 4 or 5 p.m., your office? It's 4 p.m., correct?
I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, my suggestion would be to include language that the payment, if it is going to be delivered, must be in the form of either a certified check or cash, because we did have an incident back on December 31st. The owner came into my office, paid in the form of a check. It was subsequently returned to the town as unpaid due to non-sufficient funds. Since that time, we've notified the business owner. We've had no contact. So my concern would be we wouldn't want that the applicant to come in and then pay with another business check or something and then have to go all through the process.
It does say on this letter, though, that it has to be certified, so maybe we should put it in bold letters or something.
we're
Send
gonna
it
write
back
another
out.
letter, so.
So they'll have to draft another letter.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be my recommendation, is that when they deliver the letter, it says you have until Wednesday at 4 p.m., for example, to pay in full with a certified check or cash, and at that point, your license will be suspended, both the licenses, until further notice, until full payment is made.
Right,
Unless,
and then,
I mean, that's my recommendation to the
And
board.
I think one of the comments that was made by one of the members of the board was, how do you monitor this? And what I would generally suggest is that that you just have the police department do drive-bys to make sure that the business is in fact closed and not operating during the period of suspension.
I don't know if this is the right venue to ask the question, but this is a second offense for this business. Is there any state law that we could go to, or would we have to go to a town meeting to recover? You're not cheap. Recover, because maybe this might go another session now, or maybe it might go 2 sessions. Is there any way we can recapture the funds that we spend chasing these people?
Unfortunately, there wouldn't be any provision that would allow for that under the statute or under the bylaw.
Wow. Could we enact one in the town?
It's an interesting question. I'd have
You don't
think
have to
about
answer
that one.
now. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
something that I,
Certainly, we can certainly look into it.
yeah, okay.
Okay, interesting. Any other questions?
So this was certified mail? We got the return receipt?
We did, yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was picked up on I believe it was the 23rd. But it was also sent first-class mail as well,
Right, okay.
223.
All right, any other questions or comments from members of the board? Would anyone like to make a motion on behalf
Yeah.
of?
I'll make a motion that we, is the letter going to come from, yeah, it's going to come from the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen send a letter to the parties involved, the license holders, and reiterating the fact that it must be paid by certified check, and that I would even say that this is the second offense, that it's come before the board, and that they would have until 24 hours, 4 o'clock 4 PM on the day following the serving of the letter to them. How's that, good?
That's fine.
Wednesday. Yeah.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays or abstentions? It's unanimous. Great. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Thank
It
you.
works out.
Thank you.
Actually, can we have a vote to close the public hearing?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Reports and presentations. We have James Dergay here to present on the lease of the Sunny Meadow Farm hillside parcels for maple sugaring.
Hi, good evening. James Dergay, 42 Locust Road. I'm making maple syrup here in Chelmsford at my little sugar house on Locust Road, and I have a proposal to develop a sugar bush at Sunny Meadow Farm on a parcel that's not currently being used on the hillside along Route 27. And met with the Ag Commission back in the fall here in town regarding the proposal, and here tonight to answer any questions you have and see how I can be of any assistance in moving forward with that.
How long is it going to take your trees? They mature very quickly and start producing?
The proposal that I have calls for planting maple saplings, and it's a new approach to sugaring that's been developed up at the University of Vermont, where they've discovered that you can begin harvesting sap from the saplings about 7 years of age. So unlike traditional sugaring operation where you're tapping mature trees that would be 35 to 40 years old before they would be of tappable size, this approach, you could develop a sugaring operation much more quickly by using this plantation method of tapping saplings.
So the first 7 years, it wouldn't be productive at all?
Well, the trees are planted when they're about 3 to 4 years old, so it would take about 3 to 4 years before you would see a crop from the trees, yes.
It says that you were looking for an option to renew the lease, right? With 10 years, is it 10 years with an option to renew?
Well, I guess that was mentioned at the Ag Commission meeting that I attended, so I guess we're just looking for clarity around that question. It's a farming enterprise, and so obviously it's a multi-year endeavor, and specifically, with this approach, it would be, especially given that the first 3 to 4 years, you won't be seeing a harvest or a crop from the trees. So,
what type of
No, go ahead.
what type of option would you be looking for? I mean,
Well, I mean, here's the situation, and James and I have been going back for quite some
Okay.
time on this
Sorry.
discussion. I just want to explain it to you. Under our bylaws and under the state law, we only have the ability under our bylaws to extend a 5-year period, and that would either be a lease, a land management agreement, or what have you. And I think George has hit it on the head, and James and I, we've been having discussions and going how to do this. To go beyond 5 years requires us to go to town meeting for an authorization for a specified period. So what I think is realistic, and that's why, one, I want him to come before you to explain and answer any questions that we'd have, because we'd have to bring it to town meeting. My sense would be a 10-year period would probably be sufficient. As you said, the initial period is sort of maturity, and then you sort of have like a 5 to 7 year window to make the product work. So I think that what it would take is it would take a town meeting vote to authorize the land management agreement / lease for that period. So I think that's it in a nutshell. That's going to require a special town meeting, and as the board knows, we probably will be having a special town meeting because of the Katrina Road one, so I would put this article on that same warrant. And so we've sort of been going back in terms of the investment and so forth, and then, the question becomes what happens after that, and that was the question, because my first question was, could we do it under a 5-year period and expedite this? And the answer was no, you really can't because of the maturity issue. And so my thought would be if we go for a 10-year period, that may work. The then question becomes, what about the investment in the trees and the return and so forth? We do an RFP. My sense would be is that it would be, we would ask the bidders, either they would supply the trees or the town would supply the trees, depending upon the response. And then obviously at the end of that period, then we would, at that point, you could probably do 5-year renewals within our bylaw. So that's how I envision it taking place. And I think, as he mentioned, he's had the support of the Agricultural Commission. I also want the board to know, I also notified and contacted the Chelmsford Land Conservation Trust, because as you know, even though it's still not completed, because of the state's delay, we are working with them on a preservation restriction on all of this property, including this one extra parcel that we acquired at a later date. So they, Dale Williams got back to me by email, said Paul that he had shared it with the board. They had no concerns. So that's good too. So obviously we're all running on this situation. And then the last point I would inform the board is he's only going to tap in the month of March. For the tapping. So the rest of the year, there would really be no need to restrict people from going onto the property. So that's why you hear me use the word land management agreement as opposed to lease, because as you know, in other parts of Sunny Meadow Farm, we lease that, meaning, the public doesn't ever venture onto the Shea leased area where the greenhouses are, or Phil Jones's area. But obviously this area and the off months and so forth, there would be no restriction or prohibition of public pass-through, I guess, is lack of a better term. So I just want to explain how this would be slightly different than and we're still going year to year on the Shays and Phil Jones. We're doing 1-year license agreements on that. So,
Yes, Bob?
Is there a financial consideration for this one?
yeah, that would be up to the applicant. I can tell you that on either Sheehan Farm or Sunny Meadow Farm, the financial remuneration is not considerable, but that is part of the proposal. Yeah.
If he has, say we can't extend him without going to town meeting,
Right.
like an extension or an option, could we give him like the right of first refusal, or could we?
No, any type of vested right is included in the length of the term. Because I did check with town council, finding how can we do this? Is it, is there a way of, like you said, of expediting in terms of land of low value and so forth? And basically, no, we just don't have the legal authority to commit to him, for more than 5 years now, and that's why we're here, because if we could have, we would have expedited it and been before you sooner, and then we'd be doing sort of like we're doing with the other parcels, year-to-year license agreement. But he's not going to invest his time and resources to get this thing going, and that a year from now a different board or manager would say, oh, well, we got somebody else, thank you very much, and push him aside. So I think that's why we do need to make a commitment. I think 10 years is appropriate.
Is it acceptable to you to wait till town meeting?
Oh, yes, yeah. I think at this point in the year, and the site work, preparation work would have to take place on the site, we'd probably be looking at fall planting at this point.
Okay. Yeah, so basically what you're looking for us is direction to include a warrant article to allow for the lease of the
Yeah.
property. Then we'll go to bid, and applicant before us is hopeful he'll be the
Are you putting
successful
an
bidder.
RFP out, Paul?
Yeah, it'll be a very brief RFP, basically explaining the area of land, the interest in sugar mapling, and then solicit proposals. I mean,
What are
very
the
basic.
possibilities that someone else is going to bid on it?
Well, there's always that possibility. Is there a likelihood? No. I mean, but we do have procurement laws and requirements that we have to do.
Right, no, I understand that. Okay.
Oh, sounds good. Any other
Oh,
question or
yeah.
some other questions?
Make a motion that we instruct the town manager to include on the special town meeting warrant coming up, whatever that date is, the having a 10-year lease at the Sunny Meadow Farm hillside for maple sugaring. And he would prepare the RFP as well.
With a possible option to renew, if possible.
I can't do that. It is what it is. I can't make it 10 years with a possible renewal.
Yeah.
It has to be for a
Oh, I thought they
specified
could
period.
vote on that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought.
Well, they could make.
Well, you could make it 15 years or 20 years, but
Okay.
the whole period has to be within that.
Okay.
What's authorized by
What they're
town
voting,
meeting.
okay.
So you can't make a 10 with a 10-year option.
Well, you'd have to say up to 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to do that authorization. The only concern I would have about going 20 years is it's new, and 20 years is a long time, folks. I mean, you're going to basically be leasing that till the year 2036.
We'll
You
probably
know.
send you some for Christmas, you know what I mean? Then you'll probably be in Florida, you know what I mean?
No,
Okay.
yeah, 10 years is fine.
My motion's made.
I'll second it.
Any comments? All in favor? Aye. Any nays or abstentions? It's unanimous.
Great. Thank you, James. We'll be
Thank
in
you very
touch.
much.
Presentation.
Good luck.
Move on to town manager reports.
Yeah, real quickly, just wanted to update the board that since our last meeting, we did receive correspondence from the Massachusetts Department of Transportation regarding 2 intersection improvement projects. You may recall a few months back, Steve Yonley was here showing you the plans for the sidewalks and improvements at Riverneck Road and Billerica Road, 129. Well, the good news is that we did receive Project Review Committee support from Mass DOT for this $3 million project. What this isn't is this is not a commitment of funding, but basically what this allows this project to move forward to be put on the Northern Middlesex Council of Governments Transportation Improvement Plan and so forth. So it's basically it's an important step to actually making this become a reality, to redesign that intersection. And as Matt knows, having serving on NIMCOG, that the funds are there every year, and basically if the community doesn't put in for it, there's going to be another community that's going to get money. Right. And so I just wanted the board to know that effort has moved forward, and then we'll work with NIMCOG to get this put on the 5-year tip. And then the same thing happened with the similar improvements at Boston Road and Concord Road. As you know, that intersection's a bit hairy too. We're coming in and going out. That's a $2.7 million project. So again, we'll get that put on the tip and try to move that forward. Most likely, $2.7 million for Boston and Concord roads, and $3 million, 48,000 for Route 129 and Riverneck Road. Most likely, they'll not be put on the same year because of the spacing requirements, and so my sense is they'll be spaced out. But the good thing is it gets us in the queue,
Right.
and so that's. I just wanted the board to be aware that these projects are moving along.
And
So.
what would the soonest that it would actually happen?
What do you say, Matt? 5 years, the earliest?
Yeah, probably if it's not already on there. They can move a year up and down sometimes, but if we're probably looking 5 years out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, the important
Just-
one is the
Well,
one down the
before
street
you
here.
move on, I know you
Right.
said it, but I think it's just important to reiterate that this money, it's not like a guaranteed amount to every community. You do have to work, you do have to projects in the queue, and you do have to advocate for them, and it's millions of dollars, so it's good that we have these projects that we've been thinking about and working on, and we're pursuing the funding, because otherwise it would go to one of the other communities in the region. So.
I come through the DOT.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
it's
it's all
just-
part of the federal funds allocation that come from the federal gas tax and so forth. So it's good that we have projects lined up.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the second and final aspect of my report is, and this is brought back from our discussion last Monday evening, is the proposal to issue an RFP, and again, we're talking about town meeting warrant article, would be to put an article on a special town meeting warrant to authorize the lease of the town's brownfield tax possession parcel on Katrina Road for use as an indoor multi-sport complex. Good news is since the last week, we did receive communication from Mass Development. They are supportive of the proposal. We will be getting a formal letter within the next couple of weeks. We will then finalize the RFP, put it out to market, and so the plan would be to get town meeting approval in early May at that first session of the special town meeting, which will probably be the third night of the combined spring annual town meeting, special town meeting, and then open bids later that month, have it awarded by the end of May, send it to Mass Development for its approval, and then, like I said, over the summer, have this executed, and hopefully by, let's say a year from now, or that the project would move forward. So far, and the other thing that Mass Development suggested would be that would be for we're talking about authorizations again for lease and so forth. Their suggestion would be that it'd probably be a 25-year lease period because of the financial commitments for that.
Sure.
So I just wanted to let the board know that this does appear to be on track. And again, it will be an RFP. Anybody can bid who wants to use the land for that purpose. And similar to this, we do have an entity that is interested in that particular use, and we'll get it out there. We'll put it in the central register, advertise, and so forth. So we'll keep you updated as this moves along. But the good news is so far, we're getting support from Mass Development.
Well, does that mean they'll kick in money?
Yeah, they will kick in the $1.3 million for the environmental remediation, which right now is the forecast cost to remediate that site.
Oh, good.
Which is our responsibility, right?
Exactly. Well, it will be, once we
Yeah.
use it for productive use, it will become our
Yes,
responsibility,
exactly.
but that's what, has us at this point, and like I said, the pilot program worked well, and we're hopeful that this will lead not only to the cleanup of the brownfield site, but this, that this will be a beneficial use for the community. And I think that should not be overlooked in this, is, we believe there's a demand for this in a way to enhance the recreational opportunities for the youth and the adults in the community.
Plus, it should be a tax benefit.
Yeah, it would be, that would be part of the same thing. It would be part of the RFP, because you're going to say, what are they going to lease it for? It's, well, they're going to submit a
Triple net,
proposal.
Whatever.
But that would be part of the proposal that the board would evaluate,
Okay, we haven't.
and go from there.
Okay.
It's exciting. I hope we don't lose out on that funding, and I hope it
Yeah.
keeps moving forward.
Do we want to move that the board instruct the town manager to include Katrina Road license for town-owned land for use as an indoor multi-sport complex as part of the special town meeting that is coming up?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. It's unanimous.
Okay, so I'll come back at your next meeting with a warrant for a special town meeting for those 2 articles. Okay, great.
Great. Thank you. I believe we're moving right along to agenda item number 9, liaison reports and referrals.
Oh, you got to authorize the warrant for the
Oh.
spring, please,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
forget that.
Yeah.
You got, please vote to approve the warrant for the spring annual town meeting. It'll
Do you
take a
want to go
second.
through it, or are we all set?
I think we did it last Monday,
We did it
so.
last week.
but I just
Okay,
think of
move to sign the warrant for the spring annual town meeting on April
25th, right? Yes.
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 April
Yeah,
25th,
25th,
2016.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Big margins. Okay. Now, does anyone have any liaison reports or referrals this evening?
Just have a quick announcement. The Chelmsford Republican Town Committee candidates debate will be this Thursday, March 10th. It will be moderated again by Brian Latina. Refreshments start at 6:30. Come meet the candidates, and the debate will start at 7 p.m. It's going to be held at the police station. The Board of Selectmen candidates will have the debate. School committee candidates will just be a Q&A because it's not a race. And constable candidates will also be a Q&A. So everyone's invited. If you can't make it, it'll be broadcast live by Chelmsford Telemedia on Comcast 8 or Verizon Channel 38.
Thank you. Anyone else this evening? No, nothing.
It'd be nice to see some people come out for that, because the first one was a little bit, the attendance was a little bit low, so it'd be nice to,
CBA debate
Which
last
one?
CBA
Thursday.
debate was a
It was
little. A little low, yeah.
It was low last
small,
year, too.
yeah.
Hmm.
But maybe maybe it's early, maybe if people gotta get in, there's 3 people, they all did a pretty good job, and, and then
I
you get a
watched
chance
it.
to
I thought
ask,
it went really
I
well.
watched it, too.
you could ask any questions, if you have
But
some.
the Republicans do it right, so.
Ah,
It'll be a packed house. Get there early.
Yeah, they do it.
Get your
They're
seat.
doing great.
Donald comment?
Get your tickets ahead of time.
Just to revert back to something I mentioned earlier on that liquor license suspension. Paul, could we find out if there's anything that we could do locally?
I'll check with John Giorgio, yeah.
And,
Yep.
and, because I think we ought to be compensated for, things that cost us money. And, this does cost us money. And if it happens repetitively, I'll give a person a first break, but then if it happens again, they ought to pay for the legal counsel that we have to pay.
Even if it's just something related to the late fee that everyone
Yeah.
would have to pay if they're late.
Yeah.
Something like that, maybe a way.
Okay.
Legal
Thank
fee
you.
specific might be tough. I'll
That's it.
just mention, I only have a few weeks left of my office hours on Thursdays from 5 to 6. Drum Hill, Panera. Don't come after April 5th. I will not be there. You can give me a call if you'd like to meet up after that date, but that's all I have this evening. Anything else? Any press questions? All right. Next meeting is March 21st.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.